Hello, my name is Richard Kahui and I am a centre, second five, wing for the Western Force. Rugby's been a part of my life from as long as I can remember. My dad, he is a rugby tragic. You know, childhood memories, every Christmas I'd get a rugby ball, birthdays I'd get a rugby jersey. By the age of 5 is when I started playing rugby for myself. I was a little bit of a nervous tackler back in the day, and my dad bought me a headgear when I was maybe 9 or 10 for a birthday. Again, another rugby gift. Just trying to give me a bit more confidence in the tackle, and it really changed how I used to play. I was always the smallest kid, and when I put that on, it felt like a bit of armour, and so I went from being this sort of sissy tackler to a hard tackling little kid. I think school rugby is probably where I knew that it's really what I wanted to do for a living and as a career, and just because I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved playing with my mates and the competition. I loved the winning and losing. Just loved that competitive spirit, and rugby was perfect for me. Better and better I got at it, the more I enjoyed it, and then the more I enjoyed it, the more I wanted to train. I think the year that really changed the direction of my career and changed who I was as a person was 2006. So I got a call from Greg Cooper, and he said, "Hey mate, do you want to come down to the Highlanders? We'd love to have you." And it was a no-brainer for me. I wanted to play Super Rugby. The 6 months I spent down there forced me to grow up, forced me to be a man, and then from there went to the New Zealand Māoris, and then came back to Waikato for my 3rd season, and sort of had a breakout year, I suppose, and the team, we won the Air New Zealand Cup then. Having a home final, winning at home, with obviously all our family and friends here, it's pretty incredible. And then 2007 to be named in the Chiefs squad, for me personally, that was something that I always wanted to achieve. It was a team that since their inception, you know, I wanted to be a part of, and I think for my dad and mum, you know, to know that home ground would be back up in Hamilton again. They didn't have to come down to Dunedin to watch.
Sonny Bill Williams goes in, fires it up, and here's another big hit. Well, Kahui is really charging at them.
You can see the runner on the inside. He had eyes for only Israel Folau.
The All Black team was being named at 1 o'clock on Rugby Channel on Sky. I didn't have Sky, so I didn't have access to it. So I had to ring Stephen. He put his phone up to the TV and I listened. So I found out via Stephen Donald's telephone, basically. First thing I felt was just obviously immense pride. That is the ultimate dream. That was, you know, when I was 5, like, what do you want to be? I want to be an All Black. And to know that you worked, you know, 15 years playing rugby, doing all the stuff that you have to do to finally get there. The emotion really set in when I had to ring mum and dad, and then you listen to your mum and dad cry, especially your dad. It's like, it's pretty special. I think of it now and it makes me a little bit emotional. After the initial sort of hour or 2 hours of thinking, hey, we're All Blacks, calling each other, everyone calling me, then thinking, holy hell, now I have to be an All Black, and now I have to live up to the expectations of being an All Black, and that is probably the most daunting thing a rugby player will ever go through, trying to live up to the expectation of what you want to do and what you expect, what everybody expects of you as an All Black, because you're with 14 other guys who are the best in the country, and if you've got 14 guys that are probably the best in the world as well, you should, if you do your job, you'll be all right.
And in the back line tonight, a memorable occasion on debut for both Rudy Wolff and Richard Kahui. The latter has always displayed extraordinary talent. I'm
running out my very first All Black game. That 80 minutes went in a flash, and it's a pretty amazing feeling to stand in front of a crowd full of people singing your national anthem in a black jersey, and I was really proud to firstly be on the field at all. It's just sort of a realisation of a dream come true for a team that you thought was always out of reach.
He's got Kahui with him, gives it up to Richard Kahui. What a start to his international career. Packed house, as you'd expect, 60,000 crammed into Eden Park for this massive occasion.
The All Blacks in France meeting for the 6th time in Rugby World Cup.
Stephen Donald striding forward, pointing to the posts.
Are the world champions for the 2nd time.
quite topical now for the Olympics, but we got a gold medal of our own. It's a pretty incredible memory, pretty incredible achievement, and certainly something I'll always be proud of. I would have run the iron over it, but I'm a bit worried about putting a hole in it. But anytime you put a silver fern on a black jersey, it's pretty special. There's a program in New Zealand, Small Blacks TV, basically trying to get kids into rugby, but also getting them healthy, nutritious, active lifestyles, whether it's rugby or whatever sport, but just trying to grow good, healthy Kiwi kids. And Mark Weekly, who was a guy that worked for Small Blacks, he came up to me after was it one of our training sessions, says, "Hey, I've got an idea, do you want to do cooking with cucks?" I was like, "What's that?" And then, so he sort of pitched it to me, and then he obviously ended up doing some cooking.
Bonjour, konnichiwa, kia ora, and welcome again to another week of Cooking with Cax. I think it's about time to get the muscles in here. Hand it over, Claire. Don't worry about making a bit of a mess, it's not a big deal. Mum and Dad will clean up afterwards.
I think I did 3 seasons of it in the end, and bloody enjoyable time. Didn't cook much, and I still can't cook much, but I think most of the kids, I ended up being more recognisable to kids because of the show than from the rugby. So.
Even Weepix! Now I've seen it all. We'll see you next week on Cooking with Cax.
Went over to Japan to the Toshiba Brave Lupus, and the initial sort of 6 months in Japan was interesting to say the least. We left more food on the table than we ate at that time, because not sure what it was, but you know, fast forward 7 years, it was really hard to leave the place. The people are incredible, teammates and the whole rugby community. I found a team that you know, wanted to work hard, wanted to win the Japanese top league, and just a great bunch of people. And the pace in Japan, it's a quick style of rugby. A lot of teams don't kick out, they like to keep the ball in play, and it's a lot of really nimble forwards and backs in Japan. The 7 years I spent in Japan is probably right up there. It's the 7 best years of my life. We had great times on the field, great times off it. It's a place that will always have a place in my heart. Fast forward, was it 2020? And coronavirus is sort of just kicking off in Japan. And my wife and kids were actually based in Gold Coast at the time. I was just playing in Japan on my own. So made the decision, so I'll leave my contract in Japan and come home. And Tim Sampson rang and asked if I'd like to come along and play. And so I came back.
This gentleman, number 22 on his back, Richard Kahui, welcome back to Super Rugby AU.
Oh, he was a great player. Good to see him in the competition.
I remember standing out on the field and I was thinking to myself, what am I doing here? You know, like, you said you'd never do this to yourself again, and here you are. But to be back in Super Rugby, I was absolutely wrapped.
Another penalty advantage. Here's Pryor. Floats it long. There it is for Richard Kahui. He steps forward, does well. Here's Kahui dabbing it in behind.
I work as hard as I possibly can just to try, and like I said earlier, it's try and compete. Like I still, even at 36, I don't want to just sit on the bench, or I don't want to sit out of the 23. I want to compete, but for that to happen, I need to be at my absolute best, and it's not as easy as turning it on as it is like when you're 24, like when you're 36. You know, it's a slow build. So
Kahui's in there, getting all over it.
I feel like the environment we have here at the moment, it's one heading in the right direction. Guys are challenging each other. We've got a good mix of experience, but we've got some really good young lads here as well. Just a huge amount of heart. If you don't have that heart and that resilience and that love for who you represent, it's a hard slog. So I feel like we've got all the ingredients here. All we need now is to really believe that we're good enough and play with the ability and the confidence that we do have within this team.